Welcome back to Bull Sports.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about this past game for the New England Revolution losing 2-0 to the Union. So let's get into this.
Here at the Revolution game. Say hi, Aidan.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
How's the game going?
Cold.
Cold. How about you, Aidan? How's the game going?
Good.
Yeah?
Yes.
What's the score right now?
0-0.
Yeah, and it's the 69th minute. We're just hitting the 7th minute, and and the game's 0-0.
And I have to say, it was a good game up until the 75th minute, and then we gave up. We lost Campana early on in the game, not even 5 minutes in, right? And it right from then on, it was mostly just a defensive-related game. We couldn't get very much going up front. Once again, it was just like the last 2 weeks. Nothing can be done. Like, nothing was being done. Nobody was getting up the field to score. Again, Langoni wasn't very used. But let's get in. Like, we'll get into that in a second. But let's talk about what we did before the game started. So Aidan, what ended up happening before the game started? Who did we end up seeing out on the field with his daughter?
Chocolate.
And Chunkalai was out on the field. He was about midfield. He was kicking the ball around with I believe it was his daughter. And it was me, my girlfriend Allie, and Aidan, and we were just watching them kick the ball around, and I noticed that I could kind of tell that it could have been Chunkalai or not, so I took out my phone and zoomed in on my camera, and sure enough, it was Chunkalai. So I ended up buying two shirts that had Chunkalai's name and I believe old number, and so my girlfriend Allie, she's like, "Oh, can we get a signature, from him? Go down there and see if you can get a signature on both of them." I'm like, "Okay." So I go down there. I'm waiting for about how long? About 5-10 minutes. And Chunkalai proceeds to start walking over towards my direction to go to the locker rooms. And then I go, Chunkalai, can you sign these shirts? And then he goes, "Yeah." Oh, I assume he said yeah, because he shook his head and looked at me and he didn't say yeah, but he shook his head at me and acknowledged I was there. And then I didn't have a marker. So I asked him, like, "Do you have a marker by any chance?" He's like, he shakes his head no and looks at me. I'm like, dang it. So then some random guy in the crowd saw what I was trying to do, and he was nice enough to let me borrow that marker to get Chunkalai's signature on both Aidan's and my girlfriend Allie's signed shirts. So we now have two different signatures from Chunkalai, one for Aidan and one for Allie. And she's, we all love Chunkalai. Chunkalai is an awesome dude. And that was actually one of the players we've always wanted to get a signature from. And that was a pretty cool moment. Didn't get a picture with him. I probably should have, but it was still, the interaction was probably the awesome part about getting the signature, and then also just the interaction with him, which was awesome. But yeah, Aidan, how do you feel? How'd you feel initially when you noticed that I ended up getting a signature from Chunkalai?
Surprised.
Yeah.
And good. And stuff.
Yeah. Was it a cool moment to see me end up getting it signed? Did you watch me handing him the shirts and stuff? Yeah. Do you have any recordings of it? Did you take a picture or anything like that?
I don't think.
Okay, it's all good. No, but yeah, and then obviously my girlfriend Alyssa, or Allie, as I say, she was ecstatic. She absolutely loves Chunkalai, because it'd be just based. It's honestly, for me, I don't know about her mostly, but it's mostly because of the way we say his name, Chunkalai. because it's like powerful. But he's a great player though, so we really like the way he plays, and so that's why we like him so much. But yeah, no, Aidan has a signed shirt hanging up right up behind me in his room, and yeah,
Everybody, when Chugline comes back to New England, he will be great again.
he will, yeah. But yeah, let's get back into what happened in the game. Now, we talked about it a little bit before we came off on the signed shirts. Our defense was pretty good. Would you say, Aidan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, can you elaborate more about our defense, Aidan, when you saw it when we were in person?
More defenalized.
Yeah, it was more structured, I would say. And I guess that's an improvement from our last few seasons. For the team is the way our defense is structured. I have to say, Fufana is a fantastic defender back there. Would you say, Aidan?
Yeah.
I agree. I think he was the guy the whole game that was stopping plays. I think he even went as far as doing some kind of crazy bicycle kick half from in the in between of the 18-yard box and the half field to stop a play, which was probably the craziest thing that I've ever seen somebody do, is try to do some crazy bicycle kick and successfully do it in the middle of the field. And yeah, I guess that's a positive. Another thing too is that, like, we had opportunities up front, but we didn't capitalize on them, and we didn't we didn't have enough of them too. And I think that's a big problem. And going into Campana went down early on, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we have a full secondary backup striker right now. I think it's just Campana, and I think we're filling in with other players to that position, because we had that you're ready guy that went up there, number 37, and he wasn't that great. He didn't really like make any good runs. He barely even was able to move, and we were just getting locked down up front overall the entire game. You say that, Aidan?
Yes. It will be way better than the New York.
I think if we can, because I think a problem that we're having right now is that we don't have like that striker. I think when it came to last year, we had like 3 strikers that could fill in. We had Bobby Wood, and even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Bobby Wood, I feel like he did a lot more than what freaking Campana is doing right now. And I understand it's the first 3 games, but like, you're the only team in the league that hasn't scored a goal, and for that matter hasn't won a game in the last 13 games, going back all the way to the last season. You haven't won, what I think they said, 13 or 15 games that they haven't won a game yet. Since last year into this year, they haven't won a game. And that's a problem. And if Caleb Porter doesn't get this team straightened out and doesn't get his ducks in a line correctly, as they say, I think he's going to be out of here shortly, because it's getting to the point where, even like, for example, at the end of our game, what did you hear from people at the end of the game when we ended up leaving a little early?
Boo.
Yeah, exactly. You heard boos. You heard people saying, "Caleb Porter, you're, bleep," and it's that it gets to a point where if the fans are turning around and booing your head coach because he's not performing to what he said he would do, and he came in and literally replaced the entire team, and there's still no result, is a problem. And that's another thing. We ended up leaving early because there was 10 extra minutes in the end of the game, and we're like, they ended up scoring in like the 105th minute, and we were like, yeah, this game's over. What's the point of being here for another 5 more minutes? So we ended up leaving early, but yeah. So what are your thoughts, Aiden? What do you think about the game? What are some of your takeaways from the game this past game, and maybe even what you're looking forward to in the next game against New York?
The defense will go against New York. Will go against New York way better. I think the defense way better than New York defense because New York sucks and etc. And when those strikers hit, New York defense get low. And when our defense gets strong, our defense gets even more wider than the New York offense. And when number 37 will try to kick the ball in the net against this weak New York defense, we will score a goal.
So, Aiden, then would you say, like, how do you think it's going to affect us not having Campana? Because obviously he hasn't really been doing a whole lot for us the last 3 weeks. So, not having your starting striker, what is that going to do for the team's offense?
They need a striker. The only striker I could think of is number 37 or 23 or Carlos Hale.
Well, I think Carlos Heel would be better off in the middle, because that's where he's always played, and that's where he's best at. I mean, yeah, if that works, putting Carlos Heel up front, because I mean he can score, that would make the most sense. Putting somebody who can score, but can also perform. That's why he's in the cam position. That's why he's in the center attacking mid, because he can still score, but he also provides for the midfield. But if we don't have somebody who wants to try to score a goal, and it's not going to work. What's the point of having our midfield getting the ball up the field if somebody can't score up top? I mean, I don't know if that helps a little bit about your thoughts, but
You got number 37.
Mhm.
If number 37 and 23 or number 10 works together, they will be a good team. If number 10 has been there the longest, if the number 10 talks to number 23 and number 37, they will work together as a family, as a group.
as a family and a group, I like that saying. And I think that's the overall thing. I mean, we just need to simply get the ball up there and into the box and put it in the back of net. And the other thing too is that I don't know if you noticed it when we were there, but they're very scared to shoot the ball. Is that a problem? Like, do you think we should be shooting more from outside the box? Like, even if you don't really have a full, because that's another thing too. We tried to look for the perfect shot, and we didn't have it. So we would, and then we would just kick it willy nilly and give it up to the other team, right? So, what do you think you should tell the Revolution to do then more, when they get up into that final third?
Work together, and when they work together, they get stronger and more better. And then when number 10 and number 37 and number 23 meet, they need to work together and keep Kapana life going, I guess.
Well, Campana's not going to play, so they gotta figure out
Yeah.
who's going to be that replacement for him.
My 3 placements will be number 10,
Mhm.
number 23, or number 37.
Mm-hmm. Well, number 23 is Will Sands, right?
Yeah.
Well, he can't play up front. He's an outside back. So then it would probably be number 37, Urati or whatever the heck his name is. I don't know how to pronounce his name fully, but no, but the biggest thing is that they need to take shots. They don't take enough. And I think that was their problem in the last game and in the last 2 games, is that they don't take enough shots. If you have at least a somewhat of an opportunity, even if it's from 20 yards out, I think you should take it. Even if it's not a full clear shot, I think you should take it.
If I was the coach, I would put Carlos. He'll talk to the others, and when he talked to the others, their minds will collide and work together. When they work together, they're stronger and have a happy family together.
There you go. So, yeah, so the biggest thing, we'll kick that ball in the back of the net. Just take some shots. Our defense is good. Our midfield is strong. We just don't have a forward that wants to score goals. So that's our biggest problem. So going into this next game, we have to look for more shots, more pressuring, because we're doing good with everything else. We just can't finish in the final third, and I think that's going to be something that's going to be our Achilles heel going through the rest of the season. So I think we're going to have an interesting game. What place is New York in right now, Aidan? No, I don't know what the I lost track of where we are nowadays and where everybody else is, because it's everybody's switching every 5 seconds.
Oh, it's right here. They're number 9.
Yeah. So, and they have how many wins, how many losses, how many draws?
1 win, 1 tie, 1 loss.
So, it's going to be a tough game regardless because they have a win. They can win at least. We haven't won. We have only had 1 tie and 2 losses. So that's going to be a challenge for us in itself. And it's at where again, Aidan?
At the New York.
New York?
Stadium.
So it's at New York? I believe it's at New York. Yep, it's at New York. So it's at Yankee Stadium? Oh boy. That's a bad field, I'm pretty sure, but it's okay. But yeah, anything else to say, Aidan? And unless you have anything else to say, we'll end the podcast here.
Revolution, let's find. Let's see number 10 work together with number 37 and number 23. If that works out, they will get a first win.
Heck yeah.
Revolution, let's ride, everybody.
Heck yeah.
And maybe the one guys come to my program and see what we do. Go for it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Bro Sports. I'm your host, Corey Raftery.
Aidan host, Aidan Raftery.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys.